Welcome to the preview of December and January 2023-24 predictions and into the year of 2024 by me. I just want to let you know that I have a track record of having amazingly accurate dreams as to what is to come. And the only thing I'm dreaming right now have had to do with earthquakes and tsunamis. When I arrived in Bali, the beginning of November, I have to say that it was very hot. And we've heard global warming is happening. But you know what? I felt the heat and I said, this isn't heat from the sun. It was hot when we slept at night. And I remembered another time at the time when Mount Agung went poof up. Uh, that we all noticed that something was hotter than normal, and it was a radiant heat from underneath the earth. Hence, I started telling some people that I think the lava had been rising here, and I felt that we more likely were possibly facing the ring of fire getting active. Then I was told that a whole number of Balinese seers said the same thing. The ring of fire would become very active and potentially, and the ring of fire is large, it goes around the Pacific, affect a lot of different areas, not just Bali. This would be lava, and we just had Merapi explode on Java. We have had in Iceland, we have had more lava activity. And I believe what we're seeing is not only, and I'm not going to debate anything about climate change, climate is changing. But what we are experiencing right here in front of our nose is a rising of the magma field. Now, that is an Earth activity that has to do with the sun's activity, that has to do with celestial bodies attracting magnetic fields and shifting magnetic fields. So, for years and in the early 2000s, I had a dream that we would have Europe and especially Holland, more underwater, flat but underwater, and getting cold. We would have more snow. My stance has been that we will have more of an ice age in certain areas. Now, that could be because our poles are actually shifting and they're having to adjust the GPS every now and then. I mean, they used to adjust it every couple of years, then every so often. Now it's gotten much, much more often, and it is traveling. And the pole is traveling, the magnetic pole is traveling at a heightened speed, which will affect our wind currents, our water currents. And my feeling, when everybody says we've had the hottest summer in record, now everywhere I went, I was in North America on the northwest coast, we had the coldest summer possible. I mean, wearing jackets, it was ridiculous. We used to have our house be hot. Europe, I came and arrived, and it was like, where did the summer go? I mean, seriously. There were 2 days when it reached 40 degrees and then nothing happened. Now, what I'm trying to say is that our interpretations as to what is happening may be in part human created, but in another part, we are experiencing shifts from the Earth's field, the magma field, the magnetic structure, and the wind currents and water currents. And I think we're tilting. So, my tilt that I see had been bringing colder weather into Europe, colder weather into the northeast of America, further down south, and area, hotter weather up on the west coast, but not necessarily all the way up. I do think that shifting trends are happening, not only for man-made reasons. I won't discuss that or deny that. I do think that whatever we're doing, of course, it's going to have its impact. But the larger cosmic cycles have their impact and will put us through what I think would have been a colder climate right now if we didn't already have some global warming. I mean, we would be colder. That's what I dreamt 20 years ago. But nevertheless, my personal experience this year has been wherever I went, it was colder, except when I arrived in Bali, it was hotter and drier. But a lot of it came from, we had 35 landfills catch on fire, 30 meters deep. because, yes, we didn't have as much rain and heat was coming from below, catching the methane gases on fire. And the same will happen in Siberia. The Hopis actually predicted that. They would say we will see the fire in the sky. And that may also be the auroras that we are now seeing, even red auroras that we're seeing. So I tell you one thing that we need to develop is two things. Your ability with your mind to transcend limitations of time space is paramount. How did Nostradamus or any other prophet, including myself, could see or was told what would come? I will spare you some of the things. I could tell you a number of things that have come true, that I've written in my newsletters, said this will come. It's always a personal experience. The future is not etched in stone, nor are your fate lines. I've had dreams that said, this is what you're supposed to experience. And I said, dear universe, dear God, I really would like something else. And they said it'll be difficult. And I raised my vibration, raised my vibration to another level and experienced the parallel but higher experience of the same karmic pattern. I write about it in my book, Dolphins, Love, and Destiny. I have part two of it that I'm living. If you follow me on Facebook, you'll see some of the outcomes now from the book. How my destiny that I changed then has now impacted my physical life and everything else, people, children, all sorts of things. We are not having one timeline only. We have a multiple choice timeline depending on your frequency, and you need to be at the right place at the right time. And you can do that by meditating daily. I promise you, if you raise your attention to higher levels, you will access higher dimensional perspectives of time and space and information, the Akashic records, dimensional understandings as to what lies below you, and you will see potential timelines, potential outcomes, and you will do things preventively. You will be able to say, this is coming, let me go here. Create higher states of awareness within yourself intentionally. Practice. You can practice remote viewing of time and space. Now, on that note, I just recently discovered the Far Side channel, and they, who knows whether that channel is accurate or not, have remote viewers channeling the future and the past lives and future directions, especially political things. And they said, well, Russia is going to put up for another year with not winning the war, and then they'll get tougher. Anyhow, my feeling is whoever was said to be the leader of the country is no longer running the country as we're told. I have, when time was still there, watched carefully what Putin looked like and how he sounded like. We're no longer see that Putin anymore. Now, you can conclude on your own what you meant, what you think, but we cannot expect the powers that be to change overnight in their direction. I loved what Elon Musk said recently in an interview. He said to imagine a world in which there was no war would be a sort of dictatorship or a flatline universe. There would be no differential. Differential and economic differential, emotional, personal, mental differential causes strife, causes challenges. One will try to dominate the other, but it also produces prolificness. See, and so instead of us complaining about conflict in our personal lives with our friends or other people or nations, we should maybe see it as the birthing ground for a new level of something, a new birth of an attempt to govern humans, ourselves, and this is where you come in. Your very vibration, your thoughts that you project into your daily life around yourself will change who you meet and how your future will look like. Being at the right place at the right time. Whether there is a civil war attempting to be made, if you looked at the recent movie with Julia Roberts, Leaving the World Behind, um, which depicts basically the coming of civil war. And if I listen to various background noises of people who are predicting what's coming. That's what is in the works. War sells a lot of guns, and that is ultimately what makes money. So if you stoke two different mindsets against one another and have a war, the people who win are the people selling the weapons to both sides. So don't fall for discrepancy. Divide and conquer has been a technique that has been used to make people fall against fire against each other, and the people who win are the ones who make the sales. So just don't even go there. Realize that where they're pitting everybody and help other people see that it's just a game to create opposing forces that fight each other so that there is no unity. Once there is a harmony and unity, we can focus our energy into a more harmonious field created together and hold the field of positive outcomes. What we want to see, and what I'd like you to help me, is envision a world in where we have access to less limited energy, which is a must. I was always fighting against technology in my mind, in my heart. I always believed that our world, our human evolution, was going downhill because of technology. And I am using technology right now to talk to you. I can live in Bali because I use technology to reach people who need to know and learn something that I have to share, that I've gone before, trained, and proven. So if you want to follow in my footsteps, the first one I would recommend is taking the course that I offer for a year that is to develop the freedom of living your vision. It takes daily practice, daily meditation. I offer you the app. I offer you daily exercises, weekly meditations, monthly live events where you and I and a group of people will practice together, creating our visions for the month and digesting where we came from to be positive change makers on this planet. That would be something for a mere, depending on whether you get my half price off offer or not. It's like a couple cups of coffee and a cake of some sort, and that's all included in that. So trading sugar and carbon and caffeine for a mental boost of your heart, mind, and soul, and train your ability to train your mind to develop the foresight, to train your ability to develop clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, whichever may be more for you, can be made and done by everybody. Everybody, all of us have a higher mind, higher access to higher dimensions. All our senses have an equivalent in a higher dimension. We can feel, see, or sense or know what is coming. But you do need to slow down your mind, ask questions of the universe to be guided to be at the right place at the right time. And then you will experience and do the right things. You'll see things a year in advance, sometimes multiple years in advance, and move to the right place at the right time. Act on the right impulses that come into your mind. But you do need to put in your homework now. Join me in training your mind, training your heart, mind, and soul to calm your mind, to be still enough for the higher dimensions to talk to you. And if you so wish, partake in some of our other trainings like radionics, radiesthesia, to where you can test what things are appropriate for you, which is how I found out where to live. Our island home north of Seattle is, I found, through a form of dowsing, where I simply asked where would be the best place for us to live financially, relationship wise, and spiritually. And then I took a map of the United States and I used this dowsing technique using the SE5. I will give you the link below for the SE5 website where you can find out and read the book, Regaining Wholeness Through the Subtle Dimensions, written by my husband, Dr. Don Paris, and where you can discover ways of tapping into unseen, hidden knowledge with tools that we can train ourselves with. It doesn't require that you become a clairvoyant. You can simply use what the body already has, which is a galvanic skin response that dowsers use, the old ones that walked with a stick. My grandfather was a dowser and could find water lines. Our neighbor was hired by the California state to find water wells when all the engineers could not find any water in the deserts of California. He found wells, and these are where I am not so strong. How many gallons, a huge amount of water came out of each well that he dowsed using a map and his dowsing equipment. And we train people in how to do that. And you can apply it for the right foods to eat, the people compatibility, uh, where to go, when to go, the works. Discover that magical world where my husband and I have been working in for the last 40 years almost. I welcome you to this channel. Please subscribe and come and join me. Read up on links below. Follow me in other social media and go to the website www.s like Sam, E like Edward, dot five, se-5.com, se minus sign 5.com. It stands for subtle energy minus 5.com. All right. I thank you for having been here. I hope that understanding that when you see the signs of polarities being pitted against each other, you don't pick up the pieces and don't fight, don't show up. Just don't. Aim for harmony, aim for tolerating the differences, go for a synthesis, and understand that these things are part of our human evolution, but you don't have to be showing up for that appointment. You can be in your heaven on earth. And I hope a lot of us can be at the right time, at the right place, and do the right thing and raise your vibration to where you can live in heaven on earth. Thank you for being here. See you soon.